What's up, everybody? We're here at Sea Otter 2023, and today we're on the hunt for the coolest, most unique, most out-of-the-box stuff we can find at the event. Today we're starting off at 5Dev headquarters. You've already seen the brand new titanium cranks that I put on my Binary Maniac. I got a video on that. Let's take a look at some of their other products as well. Here's my Maniac, and we've got these brand new prototype titanium. Beautiful cranks. They are so cool looking in person. They look thick, but they're not thick. They're still quite thin.
Come and check out the new crank.
And they're lighter than the aluminum versions. Oh, heck yes, you should.
Right? How sick with that?
And the titanium transmission compatible chainring as well. There's pedals, chain rings, cranks, and now we got the tie stems in all sorts of different colors. And look what they're playing with over here. Jockey wheels. Remember, these start as a solid chunk of metal. That is not light, but they remove all the material that you don't need. So cool. It's a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot going on here, but we're gonna go highlight some of the best stuff we can find. A lot of mountain bike technology comes from road and gravel, and I'm excited about that. Look at this. This seems to act like a giant leaf spring to get some more compliance in the ride. Now that's meant more for when you're sitting on your saddle than when you're standing, but I'm still interested to see this sort of thing coming into mountain bikes one day. Maybe we'll see it. We're here at the Fezzari booth, and we've got our eyes on the new Solitude. This is a lightweight carbon XC hardtail. Stepcast 34. This is their premium kind of team build. Hoping to get one of these in on for review so you guys can see what it's like. Very XC geometry. It's not like the Ibis DV9 we've got out, but not everybody wants stuff like the DV9. A lot of people want that razor sharp handling. They don't want it overly slack or overly long. And I think this is going to appeal to a lot of people that are in that, you know, looking for a nice lightweight carbon frame. And Fezzari does a really good job of hitting certain price points with great components. So I'm excited to get one of these in on the channel. I'll let you guys know what I think. Look who I found. It's Seth. I loved his latest video with the crazy stem with the super tall stack. I really was interested in that.
The raised reverse stem.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Lone Wolf covered it too. It's it's wild. Yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you were in a helmet, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was incognito. You were probably incognito too.
Yeah, I have hoodie up, just charging through.
Right on. Good to see
stuff.
you.
Good
You're
to see
an
you too.
inspiration to all of us.
Thank you so much.
Keep it up. We're here with James. We've been on a few bikepacking trips together. Our most recent was Tombstone Hustle. We had a blast out there. He works at Wheels Manufacturing. They make my favorite bottom brackets, and they've got something that I'm really excited about. James, talk us through it.
So, Steve, this is our Solo XD. So, for the longest time, you had very few options to convert your SRAM XD hubs to single speed. So we just kicked this out, soft launch. It should be out in the next couple months. Take a look at the website, wheelsmanufacturing.com. Get your single speed on.
So check this out. This is super, super trick. We've got spacers in here. This is proprietary. Looks like HG, but it's not an HG drive ring. Oh, this is so cool. So here's how it works. These little bumps sit on here, and then we've got the threads of the XD driver that engage in here, and this sandwiches it all together. And then you just run your spacers where you need to align your cog. Oh, that is awesome. I am a huge fan. And then is there a tool on this, or you just hand tighten this?
Nope.
Bottom bracket tool?
Yep, and that wrenches it right on.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm stoked for this. Thanks, James. They've also got customized chainring bolts, water bottle bolts, axles for just about any bike, derailleur hangers for just about any bike, and these flat top caps for a nice clean look on your builds. If you're wanting to customize and, you know, color coordinate and deck your bike out, check out Wheels Manufacturing. You can get it online directly from their website as well. Here at the Wheels booth, we saw this amazing Grizzly bike by Rise. Look at these welds. These are handmade in Boulder, titanium fat bike. And here's one of the coolest parts. This 3D printed yoke, but it's actually utilizing 3D printing where it has a honeycomb structure inside. So many 3D printed stuff's hollow and that doesn't really have a main purpose. But I think one of the greatest things about 3D printing is you can get these kind of helix and center structures inside the tube, this lattice structure to keep it light and stiff. So cool. We're at the Project 321 booth. I'm here with Mark. He's going to walk us through some of their new products.
Hey, Mark, Project 321, big hardtail party fan. So the crown jewel of the whole G3 display here is this kind of innovative new approach to mounting a rotor. We know there's kind of the center lock 6-bolt argument of which is better, and our engineers were kind of like, well, why can't we do both? So what we've come out with is a 6-bolt hub that will convert to center lock, and we do that with this really unique, very simple and elegant flange. And basically, we take this stainless steel collet, it slips over your center lock hub. We've got now an alloy flange, slips over, and you have true 6-bolt retention. Now there's some cool features over and above 6-bolt, some we'll say pluses over 6-bolt that I'd love to talk about. One of them is now your rotor is riding on stainless steel threads. So it's a stronger connection, better bolt retention, complete redundancy. So again, it is true 6-bolt, no lock ring. If you're kind of ham-fisted or your mechanic is ham-fisted, manage to strip a bolt, which is much less likely because they're stainless steel, you can slip it off and bang on another collet real cheap. It's called 6-lock. 6-lock is kind of what it's an improved 6-bolt hub. Your bolts are now also out of the torque path of the rotor. The rotor rides on these stainless steel collet posts. The bolts are now only doing retention duty, no torque on them. So they're less likely to come loose. Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty stoked about it.
Project 321 does super high engagement hubs. This is their highest engagement hub with 288 points of engagement, 1.2 degrees. Now, instead of doing what i9 does and shrinking the size of the teeth and running 6 pawls, they said, let's keep more surface area on the teeth, more load on those, and just add 2 more pawls. So they've got 8 pawls in here. Beautiful design. Awesome for those technical trialsy moves where you need to get up something really tricky and you don't want any slop in your drivetrain. I'm excited to get a pair of these on the channel to let you know what I think about them. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Nick at the Alchemy booth, and we're going to take a look at the new Argos AU. Now, there are 2 Argos tie frames in the line, but the AU is the premium one, a little bit thinner gauge tubing.
Right.
Talk us through this bike a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, the Argos family is the tie, it's the hardtail. AU, like you mentioned, is like the cream of the crop one. Slightly thinner gauge tubing, all US titanium. Same with the regular Argos tie, which is a little thicker. All hand built in golden. The fabricator will actually spend hours trying to get the shape to match up, and if he gets one stay and the other one doesn't quite match up, we start again. They've got to match perfectly, like the Hot Rod custom car builders, you know? This is his signature. So it's a very well balanced bike. The AU is maybe a little more XC trail. The standard Argos is a bit more heavier trail. It comes with a 144. And with any of these tie bikes, they're fully custom. So if you know, I want this head angle, I want this, they can do it because it's all made in house. You could have an AU with a 160 fork on it. They can make it work. And it's just, I mean, I've ridden one, and I live in Park City, and first time riding one, I'm like, do I need full suspension? This thing is so well balanced, and I took it some gnarly stuff, and it was just confidence, which you want with a bike, right? I'm a bike guy, and I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to ride down that. Drop the post down, I'm like, holy crap, this thing's amazing.
So this is a premium brand and a premium product, and a lot of people are uncomfortable just buying sight unseen. You guys have some really unique shopping experiences. Talk me through that a little bit.
So we believe that if you're spending a lot of money like, you don't have to buy it off the peg and be told, like, you have to have that geometry. Yes, the geometries are really good. They've had years to get it dialed in, and you can get that. But, so they have the Dare experience, which is Discover Alchemy Ride experience. So, I could buy this bike, let's ship it to me. I have 30 days to just ride it on my trails that I know. I'm not being told you've got to ride it here at Sea Otter and make a choice. Send it to me, I'll ride it. If I don't like it, 30 days, I can send it back. They will either make any adjustments or my money back.
Unreal.
Questions asked. And then they have a next level, which is the Dare Golden. And the Dare Golden is, they want you to come out to Golden, Colorado. They want to meet you. They want to introduce you to the designer, to Jeff, who builds these bikes. So you go to the Golden, you go to the office, you get a night in the Red Rock Hotel, you get a free beer coupon, free coffee and breakfast, and you meet the designer, go for a ride on their trails, and they can make any adjustments, help with the fit and everything. And then you drove out, take it home with you. If you flew out, they'll box it and ship it to you. It's just a really cool premium thing to do. Like Porsche does it, so why not Alchemy?
I'm curious, you guys want to see this bike reviewed on the channel? I know I do. We're going to get one in, put it through its paces, and let you guys know what we think.
Yeah, thanks. We'll get you one.
We just spotted these atomic wheels with Berd Spokes with the new classified hub on this Alchemy. So in here, this is some of my favorite tech. This is a battery, axle lever, and it's Bluetooth. And here's the little shifter for it. Right here, you shift. There, we just shifted. Watch the lights on the end of the bar. And internally, it's shifting to a 70% easier gear. And so they've still got a 12 speed on here, but I'm interested in fewer speeds with a shorter cage derailleur by now having that range. In fact, I'm even interested in a single speed or double speed. We'll see if we can get one of those in that we can test. I don't know what interface they use for their cassettes. We might not be able to get a single speed on there, but I promise I'm gonna try. We're here in the Enduro Bearings booth, and I wanna talk you through this a little bit. Even though we're hardtails and we don't have pivots, there's still a lot of bearings in our bike with the headset and the cranks on the bottom bracket. Check this out. This is where the founder started, was making bearings for forklifts. And what's cool about forklifts is they're high load, but low rotation, not low RPM. And he said, I'll bet we could take that technology to mountain bikes. And we're gonna nerd out a little bit here, but that's what we like to do here. Most bearings have an inner race and the outer, and then the balls go on the inside. You can see that here. Enduros realized that bigger ball bearings support the load better. So what they've done is they've created the outer race is also the shell. This is one piece. Whereas over here, you've got, like, this is a SRAM dub bottom bracket. You've got this aluminum shell, and then the bearing pops in. And look at the difference in the bearing size between these dub bottom brackets and the Enduro. Much bigger ball bearings inside of there. That means it can handle more load, it can handle more stress. Really cool to see that. I just really like the thought process that went into this, into making the carrier the race as well. And then here we've got derailleur pulleys. These are Delrin, but they also have Teflon in them, so they run smoother and smoother as they go. And this is interesting. The top pulley and the bottom pulley have different tolerances. The top pulley is really tight and really snug because that does your shifting for you. You want it to be perfect. But the bottom pulley has to be able to pivot as your chain line changes through the gears. That is such a cool idea that many people aren't thinking about. These guys are nerds to the max, and we love it. And that's what makes your product so wonderful.
Yeah.
How many cycles are on this one?
That one has over 3 million cycles on it.
3 million cycles, still going strong.
That's why the tests take a year and a half to run.
That's amazing. If you can put 3 million cycles on your bottom bracket, I'm impressed. Let me know. Hey, I'm here with Jake from Crankbrothers. He's gonna walk us through these pedals. He sent me some to test out, and I was reluctant because I've been a SPD guy for 25 years, and I was a little scared I might not be able to clip out, or I wouldn't quite like them. I'm absolutely loving them. So I want to learn more about the different pedals and the pros and cons of each, and Jake's gonna walk us through that.
Sure.
So we kind of start, the range starts with the egg beater. So the egg beater is essentially the life of all of our pedals, as this platform runs through every single model. The egg beater's primarily a cross-country XC kind of pedal, super lightweight, from the high-end ones being 179 grams a pair, so they certainly are. There's not much to them. Titanium. Then we come down to like egg beater ones, again a great pedal, just slightly different internals, components, materials.
Same amount of float. I mean, the float's in the cleat.
Yeah.
So this, if you're blindfolded, the feel would be identical between most of them, except from the pins grabbing your shoes.
Exactly, yeah. Some people can feel a slight difference with the 11s because it's a titanium.
The spring's titanium.
Yes. Oh,
Interesting.
the wings, sorry, the wings are titanium.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's sometimes a little bit of a difference people can feel. But in general, yeah, same float, same clip in, same clip out feeling across the whole range.
And then I know on these you can change these out to get different pedal to cleat clearance.
Yep.
How do you do that on these?
There isn't, unfortunately, the option on the egg beater.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the Candy, you can have I believe it's a 1 or a 2 mil grip.
Yep.
So just raises it up for some shoes that need that extra little bit of clearance.
Yeah. Awesome. And then the Mallet Trail was just announced.
Sure was.
Tell me about that.
So essentially the slightly bigger brother of the Candy. A little bit of a bigger platform, but the biggest difference is it has pins. So you have 2 pins on the front side just to give that extra little bit of traction on the shoe trying to clip in, or if on that rare occasion you might be in a bit of a sticky situation of riding unclipped. Just gives you that little bit of extra confidence and feeling there.
So nice trail pedal.
Yep.
And then if you want to get a little more aggressive but not quite downhill, you go to the Mallet E.
Yes.
I've been loving these. I think my favorite part about this is the zero float cleat and these pins. I forget that I'm clipped in a good way. With the SPDs, there was enough slop, and I didn't realize I had the slop because I've ridden it my whole life. Even like cornering, like on flat pedals, I prefer cornering because you can kind of twist the pedal with your feet and get the bike to change directions. And I get that same sensation here. These pins actually do dig into my shoe, but don't make it hard to clip out amazingly. I don't know how that works. Feels like magic to me, but that was the biggest improvement to me, was the no slop and no float, and I can really push through the pedals in ways I couldn't do with my SPDs. So after this is the downhill.
Right here.
More pins, a little bit burlier body for smashing into rocks and stuff.
More pins, more platform space as well, but still that same egg beater kind of center platform throughout.
What do you mean more platform space? It's a larger platform? Okay.
Yeah. So wider and a fraction longer.
And then are all of your pedals, do they all have the same offset in the spindles?
Yes.
Because this looks closer. That looks like a smaller Q factor.
Yeah, so some pedals do have a short spindle and some are long.
Okay.
But we are transitioning along into the long.
Okay. A little wider Q factor, but less heel rub.
Yeah.
Is that the idea? And kind of wider stance going down the trail?
Yeah. More kind of stability as well.
Awesome. And then on SPDs, you adjust the spring tension with that little Allen on there. You can't adjust the spring tension on Crankbrothers, but you can adjust the float and how easy they are to clip in and out based on the cleat you run. So this cleat has a 10-degree release angle with 0 float. This one has a 10-degree release angle with 6 degrees of float. So you get a little more of that float in there if you prefer the float. Whereas these are the standard release cleats with, it takes more degrees to release, 0 float, and 6-degree float with a 15-degree release. So the easy release cleats will unclick a little bit easier because you don't need quite as much angle to get them out. We're here at the Passchier booth, and you guys know we like different things and we love compliance on the channel, and we've tested a lot of different handlebars. These are bamboo handlebars. Why bamboo?
Well, bamboo has a natural vibration ability, so real compliance. So with our bars, it's all about comfort. So, you know, if you get sore hands when you're riding, this will take that out. So you'll notice when you push down on them, just a bit of compliance there, and that relates to comfort.
I've never been able to feel bars on a bike flex, but I can feel it on these when you really put your weight on. And I think this is going to be a noticeable difference for most people. A lot of times when I'm comparing bars, it's like 2% difference or 5% difference. I think this is going to be significant.
Yeah, it is. Certainly people, when they first, lay their hands on them, they'll go, oh, they flex, and then, they ride them, and then if they go back to their old bars, they go, ain't going there.
I believe it.
So it's, that stiff connection. So it's a fluid connection with the bike, just to give you a bit of comfort.
So probably less for enduro racers or people hucking 40-foot jumps in Whistler. Probably more for people that are looking for all-day rides or some bike packing. It's all flat bar. Who are most of your customers?
Most of our customers are looking at this bar here, the Gump. That's 760 mil wide, and a lot of bike tourers.
Perfect.
If you're in your saddle for 50, 80 miles a day, you want to come off knowing you can actually hold a beer in your hand, and this will allow you to do it.
Very cool.
So
got a little bit of forward sweep and then some nice back sweep to be ergonomic.
And you can tweak it on your stem a bit just to see what you want there.
Where are they made?
New Zealand.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So how many bar models do you have?
We have 3. We've got the Gump 760.
Yep.
Gump 650 for people with slightly smaller body frames.
Yep.
And the Austere, which is going on to sort of fixies and town commutes.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the rise like on them? And
There's
back
no
sweep
rise.
and all.
There's
Okay,
no rise.
0 rise.
22 degree sweep.
Okay.
And 10 degree sweep.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a pair of these in for review and let you guys know what I think. I'm really excited because a lot of hardtail vibration actually still comes through your hands. Even if you got a great shock, great wheels, the frame still transmits it up into your hands as well. We're gonna get a set into these for review so I can see what they're like. I think this is gonna be incredibly noticeable. And if you're not a gorilla who just destroys things and breaks a lot of parts, I think it could make a lot of sense for something like this. Obviously, it has limitations.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as robust as
They're not a downhill jump.
Right. But
that's it. They're a touring, cruisy, little rollovers and stuff. But you feel the comfort.
I'm especially excited for bike packing. So where can people go if they want to order these or learn more?
We've got a website, passchier.co.nz. You spell Passchier by P-A-S-S-C-H-I-E-R. And we'll just Google Passchier or bamboo handlebars and we'll pop up.
Awesome.
There's not many others doing it.
Good, I love it. I love people doing unique things, and instead of going super, super, super high tech and super, super expensive, we're kind of simplifying and helping simple bikes be more rideable in the long run as well. Great idea. Bravo on what you're doing. We're here at the Spinergy booth, and you guys know I love these wheels. Value for money and ride feel, these are probably my all-time favorite wheels for a hardtail. Part of that is there's a couple things going on. One, they're 24 hole. Two, as you can see here, there's foam inside the rims, and that's different than even like Spanx Vibro Core. They're completely full of foam. And 3 are these PBO fibers. There's thousands of these fibers in their spokes, and then they've got this UV protector here. So super light, but I think those fibers are what's giving us the smoother ride feel on them. And these wheels are just quiet. There's not a lot of chatter, there's not a lot of noise. They just feel smooth and they sound smooth. Your bike will never sound quieter. So for the price, unreal. I've got a discount code to Spinergy stuff in the description below. I love their wheels, and only thing I'd love to see more are even more rim width so I could run some with my 29 plus wheels. Anyway, it's pretty cool to see what goes into these wheels and what makes them ride so differently, because they truly do ride differently than just about any other. I'm here with Jim from Fairdale Bikes, and he's got a really interesting hardtail coming. It's not available yet, but it will be. Talk us through this a little bit.
Well, it's our second foray into like serious mountain bikes. First we were our Hair Razor, and this is called the Elevator. It's 4130 chromoly, it's all steel, and I guess the showpiece that you were most excited about was our 406 chainstay length, which
that's insane.
You sort of didn't believe me when I said it, and you're like, no, that's for that bike. Like, no, that's for this bike.
Yes.
29 fits in the 406 rear end with the yoke, and yeah, I don't know what else you want to know about it.
That is
specifically.
so rad. You guys
Riding-wise?
have a BMX background, and I know that's kind of a cliche in the mountain bike world, but these guys actually live and
BMX.
breathe BMX. It's not like they rode a single speed BMX to do their paper route.
No, the company started was Odyssey BMX in 1985. So we've been doing the parts and accessories for BMX bikes forever. And then later down the line, we started doing Sunday bikes, mostly complete bikes and frames. And then this is our foray with one of our team riders, Taj Mihelich.
Sweet.
He wanted to develop something. We're like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to make a bike company sort of for my friends who are in BMX, for their friends who might not be full-on bicycle enthusiasts like that would come to this place. A bike that'll last, that'll be fun. That's what Fairdale, that's how we started.
It's got his graphics on it too.
Yes, all the fun cartoons and stuff is all Taj Mihelich artwork, 100%. So yeah, these are like, yes, we've made serious bikes in the past, the Good Ship road bike, the Titanium Spaceship, to show that we're not just a mid-range company, that we can do high-end stuff, but this is our first high-end. These two bikes, the Hair Razor and the Elevator, are the foray into the high-end mountain bike stuff.
I used to have a Hoffman Taj model.
There you go.
That's so cool. So cool.
This will be available as a frame first.
Okay.
This is a custom build from one of our sales guys.
Right. So cool. I didn't know Taj was behind this. I've known Odyssey since I started BMXing in the late 80s, and so cool to see them in the mountain bike world. Awesome. Well, cool. We're going to get one of these in on the channel whenever we can so that we can review it for you and let you guys know what we think. 406 chainstay on a 29er. That's a record. I've never seen that. And here's how they do it. Look. Forward shifted seat tube. We love seeing that. I would love to see that on more and more bikes. That's what we did on the Binary Maniac that I developed. It gives you more tire clearance and allows you to keep those stays super short for that BMX-y feel for manuals and just goofing around and having fun. This thing's made out of steel and it looks like it will outlast you and your grandchildren. So if people want to learn more about your bikes, where can they go?
They can go to fairdalebikes.com and we'll try to get some information on the website about this as soon as we can.
I mean, this thing's brand new. It doesn't even have a place on the website yet.
Yes.
So be patient,
It's original sample.
but it's coming.
Coming soon.
Awesome. Can't wait to see it. Another cool hardtail sighting. This Klein Rascal is unreal. Quadra 21R. Look who I ran into. It's Ryan Palmer. I first became familiar with this stuff over at Bike Mag, but what really hooked me on his work was the Bible of Bike Tests. Those kind of set the standard, set the bar that still hasn't been reached by anyone, I think, on what bike reviews should be. You're working at Yeti now.
I am, yes. I'm here now as the marketing manager.
Awesome. I'm so happy to see you here, and I know you've had a rough year or two, but it's just everyone in the cycling industry has, but especially you guys at Bike, and I'm happy to see you guys finding your place.
Thanks so much, man. Yeah,
Awesome.
really appreciate it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have landed at such a cool and like authentic brand. So.
Awesome. One of the best mountain bike journalists and reviewers on the planet. It's such an honor for me to meet him. Everyone's following all the Red Bull pros. I follow all the good journalists. So, great work.
Thanks,
you,
man. Appreciate it.
And we're here in front of the beautiful Yeti Arc. I love this gray colorway. If you haven't seen it already, I've got a review on this bike. And I think this is the bike that so many people need but don't know they need it until they ride one. We're here at the Sage booth, who probably have the sexiest hardtails of the show. Check these out. My goodness. Absolutely gorgeous finishes. Anodizing and Cerakote. New SRAM transmission on there. If you haven't already seen my reviews of the Flow Motion and the Powerline, I've got those on the channel. Super great hardtails made in the USA out of titanium. Let's see what other ones we can find here. You guys might recognize this one. It's Seth's bike. He got a custom built Powerline for his riding. This is the brand new Flow Motion, maybe not so brand new, but newer than the one I reviewed. I reviewed the 27.5 model, and now it's a 29er. This is the slacker, longer travel, burlier, more aggressive hardtail. And boy, that 27.5 was super fun. I just spotted some really cool flat chainstays. Look at that. They kind of flare out. That might be what gives it its excellent ride feel. These Sages ride so beautifully. We'll have to see if maybe we could get one of these in on the channel to review. I'm here with Bree from Sage Titanium, and she's gonna take us through what's new at Sage.
Hello. So this is our kind of our new updated bike. We've started to incorporate a 3D printed, made in the US yoke to give us a lot more tire clearance and bigger chainring clearance. So we can do up to a 36 on this, no problem. 2.6 will actually fit in here.
Excellent.
And
is this a power line?
This is, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. You can get 2.6s on your power line now. I have not come across anyone who can 3D print tie in the US. I know a few people that do it in China, but I haven't found it in the US. That is so cool to hear.
And of course, the new transmission.
Of course. Ooh, so UDH. We don't see very many UDHs on hardtails yet, but we're gonna see more. I know we are now.
Yeah, it's the wave of the future.
Especially on premium stuff like this.
Yes.
So frames are still made in the US by hand, just like always.
All US tubing, everything on here is US.
So cool.
You know, except for the parts, of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bree. Appreciate it. We're here at the Aeroe rack booth. They make my favorite bike packing cradle and rear rack mount. You have seen these on the channel. I think it's the greatest way to get hooked on bike packing. You know, it's a good way to test if you like it or not. Get one of these racks. They work on any bike, full suspension, hardtail, gravel, and then go have an adventure. And if you're hooked, go have more. And if you're not hooked, then you're not out thousands of dollars by buying custom bags. But I have a feeling you're gonna be hooked. Bike packing is so much fun. We're here checking out their new products. Right now, this is the latest design. It allows you to run 2 water bottle mounts on your Aeroe rack. This will rotate 360 degrees. You can slide it up, mount it all over. I'm excited because there's lots of other things that also mount to these water bottle mounts besides water bottles. But it's cool to see that you can expand this. I feel like the Aeroe rack is the Prinsu rack of your bicycles, and I think we're gonna see more and more things you can bolt on and things you can take with you with their cool mounting system. I'm gonna show you one other product they've got here too that's new as well. This is their pannier rack, and I think we're gonna see more cool stuff you can carry on here as well. It's currently got Ortlieb set up, but you can mount all sorts of different things on here. Ortlieb has a super slick mounting system. It just clicks on, but it mounts just like all their other things with these 4 bolts. And what a cool design. These guys also designed the Thule rack that I loved so much before it broke. And I've appreciated the ruggedness of the new Aeroe stuff. Super stoked to see you guys continuing to innovate and make bike packing easier for the rest of us. Also, if you remember my review, I had a hard time with these straps staying tight on the really, really bumpy terrain. Well, we're in luck because now they partnered with Volet to make these awesome straps. So you can order those as well. If you're interested in any of this stuff, you can pick it up at aeroe.com. Super stoked to be supporting these guys. It's a 2-man show. A lot of people forget that this isn't a corporation with 500 people working for them. It's 2 passionate guys, and I love supporting companies that are small and enthusiastic about their craft. We're out here seeing what cool hardtails we can spot today. I just saw the brand new RSD Middlechild color. This electric blue is absolutely killer. Love the Middlechild. We're here at the Marin booth, and this is the Pine Mountain 2. It's an updated from the one that I reviewed. It's got a little bit longer reach, a little bit slacker head angle. I think we might have to get one of these in for review. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you guys are interested in, seeing the new Pine Mountain. I really like their super thin stays and how compliant this bike rides. At least the previous one was so soft for a mass production bike. Look who I ran into. It's Outsidebrendan making amazing things on his 3D printer and giving us all a good laugh, but there's some brains behind this.
The few,
really cool
brain
to
cells
see.
back there.
What's your favorite part about being a social media influencer and doing wild things?
Oh, dude, I hate that word. I'm just super lucky to get to do this for a living right now. So
you're crushing it.
Loving it, loving it. This is my first year doing it full time. So yeah, it's amazing to be here at the Marin booth. Got the 3D printer going. Sick.
Well, if you guys are on Instagram, you'll remember Brendan's crazy Lego stuff, doing all these wild chain rings with his 3D printer. His max tracks for your Crocs. All the fun things.
Yeah, the winch for the bike.
Yeah, you have such a great personality, and I love your fun approach to mountain biking.
Thank you so much.
Check out this Bear Valley we spotted. Boy, does this bring back the memories. Biopace. Remember these shifters, guys? I do not miss those. The brake routing. Oh, so cool. So fun to see this stuff that brings back the memories of when I started mountain biking. I'm excited to showcase this bike. My buddy Cjell Money built this. It's a recycled old Schwinn. The whole theme was recycling and reusing, and he built this incredible bike for Sierra Nevada and Paul. Super cool. Cjell was the perfect guy to pull this off. Look at his incredible brass brazes. Look at this wishbone with the 40-year anniversary in there. Oh, Paul clampers, of course. Wide industry cranks. Cjell, you knocked it out of the park. Bravo. It's funny, on a lot of these old bikes, you kind of have to re-straighten them and cut them down and rebuild them to actually work. This thing makes me so happy to see. Bravo, Paul. Bravo, Cjell. Bravo, everybody involved in this killer project. You got the Paul boxcar stem, Wide Industries cranks, Money top cap, Odd Money bars, which is a combination between Oddity Cycles and Money. We've got my favorite levers, the Canty levers, going to some Paul clampers. Paul's single speed hubs. What a cool build. I'm curious, do you guys geek out about this sort of stuff, the hand-built stuff like I do? Do you want to see more of that on the channel? Do you want to see more of the mainstream, like, big brand hardtails? Let me know in the comments below. We're here at the Paul booth. As you guys know, Paul makes my favorite brakes. These are handmade in Chico, California with old school machines and new school. These are parts that will outlast you and your bike. You've seen this dropper lever on every single one of my builds. It's worth spending a little bit more to get something built by humans that really have a lot of passion about what they do. These guys are awesome, and we appreciate them supporting the channel because I run those brakes on all my bikes and I'm such a fan. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Guys, I just ran into Bronson from BMB, who made the R&R stem that you saw on Seth's channel. Bronson, congrats on all the publicity, first of all.
Thank you.
Congrats on thinking outside the box and doing weird stuff. Tell us more about this.
So this is the RR stem. It stands for raised reversed. So as you can see, the stem is raised up, and then there's also the reversed offset. So your hands are ultimately behind the steering axis, instead of in front as they would traditionally be. And what I find is that really improves the steering dynamics and the cornering feel. So one of the things you can see, if I get on this bike here a little bit, I'm going for cornering the bike, and let's say I'm more or less in this kind of position here.
Yeah.
If I'm switching to the RSM, I'm able to have the bike leaned over more for a kinematically tighter turn and better side knob engagement, while also being able to keep my weight more towards the outside of the bike, keep my weight over my side knobs. Along with that kind of floppy feel you get with slacker bikes is greatly reduced. It's a much calmer steering feel that's much more direct.
Look at that difference in handlebar position as well. How many heights do you have?
So I offer it currently in only one height. Although you can still adjust that height, the spacers above or below the stem, just as you would traditionally do, or a higher or lower rise bar. So right now, at my height, I'm 5'8". I run this with the equivalent of about maybe 30 millimeters of spacers underneath. Someone who's shorter than me, say 5'4", would be able to run it all the way slammed down without needing to be way too high.
I'm proud of you. How can people get a hold of one of these if they're interested in one?
So they can go to my website.
Okay. Super nice to meet you, brother. Thanks for saying hi.
Thank you.
And thanks for being innovative and not just going with what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're here at the Revel booth, formerly Y Cycles. This is the El Jefe. Jefe rode this to set the record on the Colorado Trail. I think we need to get one of these in for review too. A beautiful titanium bike, especially, it's very similar to the YS7, except it's got a few tweaks. Cjell's a little different. We got the sliding dropouts here. And check this out. Revel is the first one I've seen that's designed a UDH slider, so you can run SRAM transmission on sliding dropouts. I know a couple other people have it in development, but Revel's the first to pull it off. Bravo, Revel, especially in such short time. Internal routing, beautiful flow to these tubes. A lot of people are going to be running these bike packing and set them up with bags, and no doubt Jefe's influence on the Colorado Trail is playing a part here. Anyway, super cool to see these at the show and give you guys a little sneak peek. A lot of e-bikes and gravel bikes here, which aren't really my forte, but we can always learn something from them. This looks fascinating. This is from Vielo. This looks like a flex point to me. Or maybe it's just an aesthetic design, but judging by how thin that is, I have a feeling they're gonna get a little bit of compliance there, kind of like it's a leaf spring. Interesting idea. We're here at the Classified booth, and they have this 2-speed internal hub that's shifted with Bluetooth. This is the first time I've laid eyes on it. I'm really excited. I want to do a single speed. I don't know that that's ever going to happen, but check this out. Here's the cassette. That's their road cassette, and I'm assuming this is their mountain cassette. We've got little indents on the driver that line up with these teeth. And then it's tightened with the lock ring on top. So that's going to make single speed difficult, but not impossible. Someone would just need to machine the part to put that on. That could be fun to see if we could do. So basically, it's kind of like bringing the benefit of a front derailleur back, where you can shift down to the easier gear in that hub that's 70% the ratio of the regular drive. So why I'm interested with it as a single speed, it'd be a double speed, is so you can have a bailout gear if a climb's coming. I think that'd be really fun. No derailleur, still keep your chain lines super clean. I know I'm probably the only nerd that's interested in that, but it's really interesting to me. I know it's not a hardtail, but I'm allowed to make exceptions every now and then, and this is worth making exceptions for. This is the Ministry Psalm 150. Such incredible work on this. It's machined aluminum, and then it's bonded with the two halves. We're here at the EXT booth, and they're featuring their suspension on this. But I just wanted to point out this absolutely gorgeous frame. I know it's not a hardtail. It's too good to pass up though. We're here at the Berd booth with Charlie, the owner, and Rob, my main man we've been working with. Tell us about the Hawk 27 and the Hawk 30.
Yeah, so this is the Hawk 27, and everything I talk about with the Hawk 27 applies to the Hawk 30. It's just 3 more. So really special things, 3.75 millimeter bead lip to give you a little bit of protection on your tires from pinch flats and from rim damage. We have an 18 millimeter deep rim, which allows you to take advantage of all of the compliance that you get from Berd Spokes and literally compress these wheels. When they're not built, I can take this hoop, push it against my chest, and feel that
No
flex.
way.
Yeah. It's really, really cool. Our launch video shows that. This is our new Talon hub. So these hubs are purpose built for Berd Spokes. The spokes just hook onto the flanges. So it's way faster, way easier to build the wheels, and it provides a really, really cool look at the flange.
And they can order these with other hubs too.
Exactly. The Hawks are available with the Talon hubs, with the Industry 9 Hydra hub, and the Onyx Vesper hook flange hubs.
Rad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show us the guts of a Talon hub.
Yeah, I'll show you those. So the end cap just pulls off.
Okay.
And everything can be done by hand. And this is a 36 tooth ratchet. And we also have the option for a 54 tooth ratchet.
54 tooth for that higher engagement that we love.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, super reliable internals with a 2-piece star ratchet.
Very cool. Awesome. Thanks for all the work you guys do. Thanks for helping us hardtail riders not get our fillings rattled out everywhere we ride. It makes a huge difference having a compliant wheel set. We're here at the Manitou, Sun, and Hayes and Reynolds booth. They're all under the same parent company. These are the Hayes Dominions. I feel like I should be listening to Jimi Hendrix right now when I work on the purple Hayes. These have some super cool features that I just learned about. I've ridden these on Greg's bike from Axial Frameworks, who made that custom frame that we reviewed on the channel. But I didn't spend much time diving into what they do. And there are some, for a mechanic like me, it's a dream come true, the stuff they're doing. Let me show you a few things. First off, We've got dual bleed ports. Right here, underneath, you can bleed the caliper, bleed the lever from here, or from the top. And each, these are 4-piston brakes, and there's a bleed port on each one of these as well. Here, and here. So if you can't get the air bubbles out of this system, it's not the brake, it's you. And then this is probably my all-time favorite part, are these grub screws here. They call it their crosshair alignment, where you can get, a lot of the times, people will just loosen these, pull on their lever, hope that it centers on the rotor perfect, which it never quite does, and then snug these down. What these grub screws allow you to do, you loosen these up, and they will let you fine tune this left and right, top and bottom, within a millimeter or even less, depending on how much you put on there. And then you can get them perfectly aligned. And then if you ever pull your brake caliper off and then put it back on, it's ready to go because it's in the exact same spot. That is genius, and I'm super excited for that. Let me show you about some of these forks as well. You know we like shorter travel stuff on hardtails, and everybody's kind of swept up in this enduro craze right now where we think we need Fox 38s, and maybe some of you do, probably not on your hardtails if we're honest. And what's cool about the hardtails is they remind us that we need stuff that's flexible with a little bit of give in it, that doesn't just you know, maximize stiffness for no reason other than being stiff. This is the Manitou R7, and this is a 32 mil stanchion fork. And I know some of you are already saying there's no way I'd ride a 32 mil stanchion. I'm hardcore, I need more than that. That's okay, but I'm really curious to try this to see if it does make less hand fatigue, to see if you got a little bit more comfortable ride. These have some cool things going on. This one is a 80 to 120 mil fork, and what I like about these, just like my Cane Creek helms, you can change travel without buying a new air spring. So you pull the lowers off, clip some clips on just like my helms, and then you can adjust the travel with that. I think a lightweight 120 to 130 mil fork is the sweet spot for most hardtails. It's what I run on my personal hardtails, and I'm excited. I hope I'll be able to get one of these in because I think there's some really interesting things going on, and it's fun to break outside the mold of RockShox and Fox and try something new. We got Christian Pepper doing tricks on the Pink Bike lemonade stand here. Kate Courtney's over here doing a Q&A. Pretty cool to see her in person. Can't remember last time we ran into her. Awesome to see so many women there. It must be a women's only thing, which I'm a huge fan of. We need more women in this sport. My wife, Dusty Betty, works really hard to encourage other women to feel comfortable in this sport. We need to start treating women with respect. We needed to start doing that a long time ago. But it's really cool to see all these girls listening to Kate Courtney give them tips. She's doing a great job being an ambassador for other girls. As a father of a daughter who will be a mountain biker, that means a lot to me. Check out this fat chance we just spotted. It's a wicked light. It's got the Ag 21R. This was my first suspension fork. And it's funny because the Judy XC and the Judy SL were kind of touted as the better ones. But this one had the magnesium lowers and it was an air adjustable fork. And I love that thing because I weighed like 80 pounds when I was riding that, and I could get the air pressure to where it actually moved on me and I wasn't relying on elastomers. I'm such a nerd for these older bikes, but it's cool to see them in person here at the Continental booth. We're here at the 5Dev booth. We've been hanging out here this whole festival. I want to showcase some things that many people don't know. These are SpaceX parts that they make for SpaceX. This one's from Blue Horizon, and it's a window for a spaceship. And no, it's not a motorcycle rotor that's built warped. This is a window from space. So cranks are no big deal for 5Dev. Chainrings, no big deal. They're used to making stuff for airplanes, for spaceships, for medical stuff. And it's just fun to see someone actually come into this industry that's not the traditional bike company, because their approach to how they build things is totally different. It's fun watching them completely over-engineer this stuff and just geek out. We had a 2-hour discussion the other night at dinner about CNC versus 3D printing versus elasticity and Rockwell hardness, and we were just geeking out to the max, and it was fun to see people so passionate about engineering and equally passionate about mountain biking, putting those two together and making them in San Diego.
Thanks, Gavin. This is the Design Pocket Drive Pro HV. HV standing for high volume. You can also make the standard high pressure version. So, you know, our CEO would kind of jokingly call this the lipstick pump, and super compact. But you know, for those mountain bike guys who have a little bit more volume per stroke there, still super compact form factor. This one has that you know, kind of a pistol grip knurling on it, which is really handy when you're sweaty and grimy out there. But yeah, pretty simple function. This particular one has the neo metallic colorway, which is kind of a cool deal. But yeah, simply just unthread the hose here. You have your Presta straighter both sides. And this one also has this little wheel there is a valve core tool, so you can tighten your Presta you know, valves on there. So you have no excuse for, you know, threading out your valves there. And then you simply attach it to the other side here. Threads on like so. Boom. Thread that onto your Presta or straighter there. And then simply, you know, just hit it and get it going. Once you're done, you have a little blow-off valve button there that kind of releases the tension in the line, which is going to make it easier to just unthread it out without grabbing anything. Boom, you're done. Simple, efficient, pretty quick. This particular one retails for $50. This one's considered the Pro version. It usually comes in a loaded kit, but very similar. You can get in there for about $32, which is a
excellent
pretty sweet value there. So make a couple different colorways. There's the black, silver, and yeah, it's the pocket drive.
I get so excited about small things, but when something works well and you can count on it and depend on it, it's worth its weight in gold. I'm running the bigger version of this, not the pocket drive, but the bigger high volume one. In fact, I used it twice on my ride last night. I'm excited because this opens up the possibility for me to run some of my smaller hip packs and take up less space. I'm willing to put in more pump strokes and do a little bit more work to fit this in a smaller form factor. I'm not affiliated with Design. I just think this is the best pump on the market, and I'm so stoked to see it come in a small form factor. So there you go, unbiased. It's what I use. It's what I've been using for 5 years in my pack, and it's what I'm going to continue to use until I find something better. Okay, we spotted another sick hardtail. Merman, they're coming out swinging. Newer company, killing it in the media department, and you can see why. Look at this thing. I haven't seen any of the Thai ones, just the steel ones.
Yep.
So cool. Tell me about your shop and where people can get them.
District Bicycles, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Tyler Seams and Taylor Weichman are the purifiers of fine goods. This is the Unholy Diver tie. This is Gen 1 prototype. It's got all sleeved internal titanium routing, so there's no finicking around with cable housing or brake cable or any of that. And then you've got a Trident,
of course,
brake bridge. Absolutely unbelievable bikes. 140 hardtail, super rowdy, 29x26, Unholy Diver.
So sick. I haven't ridden a Merman yet. We're in works to get one in. I've been chatting with them, but their whole attitude to riding and just having fun and not taking yourself too seriously is totally what we support here at Hardtail Party. Taking a look at the brand new scale. This bike comes in under 21 pounds. Super impressive. This is the $10,000 build, but this is the pro build that the pros are going to be riding. It actually has compatibility for 2x. I know some of you are still interested in running 2x. I love that it's still got a post mount and not a flat mount brake in the back. Really thin carbon tubes in here. In the middle of your top tube does not need to be very strong, so you can run smaller, thinner tubing there, but then you want to beef it up in the bottom bracket area, the dropouts. I'm wondering if we're going to get a little bit of compliance out of here with how thin these are. And the geometry is a little bit slacker, a little bit less twitchy, which means if you've got a spark, transitioning between the two shouldn't feel super different. A lot of athletes are racing both of these, and they're trying to decide which one do I want to take on the race. Well, the more similar they handle to each other, the better for them to not have to readapt to the hardtail versus the full suspension. We've got an integrated bar and stem, and it's internal headset routing. So this brake cable goes through the headset bearings and into the frame there. And of course you've got the twin lock set up here. We don't cover a ton of XC race stuff, but I know a lot of you are interested in that, and they have their place, and I still think they're really exciting bikes. They don't work great in Sedona, but I'm gonna be traveling more to places outside of Sedona to feature some of these bikes in their intended environment. We're here at Orange Seal with my favorite sealant company. These guys, I'm running them in all of my bikes and all of my review bikes. They've been super helpful to provide sealant. I'm not sponsored, but they do provide sealant to help me make my business possible, and I'm super grateful for that. I wanna walk you through the 3 sealants. There are 3 sealants at Orange Seal. We have the cold weather one. What's that called?
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
It's not here right now.
Okay.
We do have it.
Yeah, that makes sense in the middle of spring, but I know a lot of you guys fat bike, and if you're tired of your sealant not working great in the cold temperatures, check out the Sub-Zero sealant. That's what it's meant for. And then we have the traditional sealant, the regular sealant, which is the fastest plugging and plugs the biggest holes. And then we have what I use, which is the endurance sealant, because in Arizona, everything dries out fast, and this sealant stays longer and lasts longer and longer for me, and so I don't have to keep refreshing it so much. So one of those 3 should work for you. There are a few things I love about Orange Seal. 1, your tires don't smell like rotten milk inside when you crack them back open and you have to wipe out. 2, it's not sticky. A lot of the other sealants, when you're swapping tires, I do this all the time for wheel reviews, I'm swapping tire from wheel to wheel to wheel, it's sticky and just a mess. And 3, when it does dry out, like let's say you hang your bike on the wall for 6 months and don't use it, you peel it off like a sticker. You can just remove the whole thing really easily. These sound like small things, but for someone like me who's always swapping tires and swapping wheels and getting a new bike in for review that I have to set up tubeless before I can do the review, little things like this make my life so much easier. And sometimes it's these small differences that just make you fall in love with the product, and that's what's happened with me with Orange Seal. Not to mention it plugs my tires really well. I sound like a fanboy. I am a fanboy. It's really good stuff, and if you haven't tried it, I definitely recommend you try it. There's a million sealants out there. It's still my favorite out of everything I've tried. Here at the Canyon booth, they have a lot of new models, but they don't have any of their Stoics. I was excited to see one in person. I know you guys are excited. Hardtails are still a little bit of a forgotten segment of the industry, and it's been interesting trying to convince people that hardtails are still relevant, even the own companies that have them. We're hoping to get a Stoic in for review. I know that's a really interesting bike, very affordable. I can't wait to throw a leg over one either. Hopefully we can get that done. It's always surprising too to see the companies that are direct to consumer that aren't at these trade shows. I was hoping to see Spot here. Spot's not here. I would expect every single direct-to-consumer company to be here with every single model of their bikes so that you could see them and touch them in real life. But if you love hardtail things, spread the word about Hardtail Party and spread the word about how you care about them, and hopefully we'll see more and more of them at shows like this. We're here at Prevelo with Jim, and he's going to walk us through their killer line of kids bikes. Kids bikes don't usually get good geometry. The chainstay is usually longer than the reach. The head angles are super steep, and they're super heavy bikes. Prevelo's not doing that. This is, it shouldn't be revolutionary, but this is revolutionary.
All right, so we're Prevelo bikes, so we do premium bikes for kids. So we have 2 lines of bikes. We have our Zulu series and our Alpha series. So our Zulus start right here. So we started 14-inch bikes, go 14, 16, all the way up to our 26. All of these bikes run hydraulic disc brakes. Once you move into the geared bikes, you get air forks, tubeless wheels and tires, slack 66-degree head angles, steep seat tube angles, dropper post compatible. We do offer dropper post with all the bikes. In addition to just offering like a good out-of-the-box package, we're starting to go to carbon handlebars.
Wow.
With 19mm grips with 19mm lock.
Okay, talk about that. Most people don't understand why kids need different grips and bars.
Yeah, so 19mm bars, so a standard bar is 22.2. The 19mm is just for a smaller hand to wrap around. There is a lot of suppliers that are starting to work towards 19. A lot of the big companies are starting to follow suit with this. So we're starting to see, instead of like a shim brake lever for small hands, we're moving towards actual 19mm brake levers, 19mm shifters.
Wow.
Soon all kids bikes will start running small grips. We like to think that we're a leader in that.
Well, and they've got smaller fingers that can't wrap around big bars very well.
Exactly. So full small hand, everything's got to be middle.
Very
we
cool.
also have, this is new for us, this is a carbon kids crank. So this is a 145 with a 30 millimeter spindle, 6873 PSA shell. And we also have our air pedals which have rounded pins.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so when kids bang themselves in the shin, like we all know.
Yes.
It's a little easier.
And then these are your standard cranks. What are your crank lengths on all your cranks?
So we started an 85 mil crank.
Yes.
For our smallest bike. And then we go, so 85, 95. These are the 120s. And the 120 cranks also run a 150 Q factor, so the arms are actually like dead straight instead of bowing out like they normally are. So our bikes are designed around this crank. This crank will work on some other bikes, but not all.
Yeah.
And then we go up to our 140, which you get on the 24, and 152 on the 26. And that's when you get to the standard.
Yeah, we like it.
So many kids' bikes are not thinking about that. They're not thinking about weight. Some of these kids' bikes are like 46 pounds. What are your bikes weighing in at?
It depends on exactly the model.
Of course.
So like a 20-inch Zulu with tubes in it, I believe this bike's about 22.5 pounds.
Wow.
We do offer an air version of this that saves about 2 pounds. I don't have one in this booth, but if you look, it's actually just one in the Praxis booth right now. And yeah, so we offer the same thing for this bike. We have an air package, which will come with stands, wheels, and a lighter weight forward.
Wow.
So a couple things to lighten it up. But, lightweight comes with price. So that's part of the reason why we're kind of leaning towards like aftermarket options to get it even lighter for the people that are okay to spend.
Do you know how to do that, or do you know?
Wonderful.
We also have our Alpha Series bikes, which these are like our super lightweights.
Okay.
So it's a
Paved
20-inch
path sort of thing, gravel stuff.
More of a gravel bike path. And they do have compatibility for 2.1-inch tires.
Oh, cool.
So even though they come with 1.5s, you can do light trail riding with them. They have a 69-degree head angle, so they're not as slacked out as what you would get with a suspension bike, but because they're rigid, the whole frame can sit lower.
Okay.
So we get 4.5-year-old kids that can get on a 20-inch bike and get into gears at a young age.
Look at that standover. That's incredible. For a kid, my very first bike, I was 2 years later to learn to ride than all my other friends because I had short legs, and my parents bought me a big bike I'd grow into, and I had no confidence because I couldn't touch the ground. It sounds like a small thing. That is not a small thing.
Yeah. So, and they also have pretty wide range gearing. So this is Microchift's new Alkalite drivetrain.
Yes.
So super short cage, and it goes from an 11 up to a 38. Instead of like the standard 36 that you used to get on 9 and 10 speed bikes. And we run that all the way through the range to get lots of clearance. We run the higher end Advent once you go to the Zulu series bikes.
This is a really well thought out package. You guys have done a great job.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And they're all hardtails.
They're all hardtails for now.
As a father who's trying to get his daughter hooked on mountain biking, I'm so stoked to see all these options for her as she gets bigger and actually is going to be in the mountains with us. I know a lot of you guys are fathers out there too. I want to hear, what do you guys think about this? Is this the type of thing you guys would be interested in, would like to see your kids on? What's worked well for you? What are some of your favorite kids brands? I'd love to hear down below. I see very, very little competition for these in the market right now, especially for the price. I'm here with the man, the myth, and the legend, David Turner, founder of Turner Bicycles, and you won't find any full suspensions in this booth. David, walk us through your 3 hardtails.
Well, first of all, I'm really stoked, Steve, that you stopped by to see us, right? Because I've watched, for years now, I've watched the Hardtail Party and really enjoy your work. I have turned into a hardtail lover. You know, the slide started with gravel. During this gravel progression, as it got faster, bigger tire clearance, better quality tires, all that stuff, I started thinking ahead going, you know, why don't we just have a hardtail mountain bike with a flat bar? Because the reality is when it comes down to going really fast in the dirt, a flat bar is better than a drop bar. I don't care who you are. You can go faster, more confidently with some sort of a flat bar with, you know, brake levers, get a finger or two on them, boom, fast, confident. So I did the nitrous. So we started off the Nitrous was our first titanium mountain bike ever. So we'd already been doing, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of the Cyclosis gravel bike in Thai. So it was easy, had a great relationship with the factory. They do beautiful work. You can see the welds, the machine work. All the bottom brackets are T47.
We love that.
Internally relieved. 6/4 tie is the material to make the head tubes out of, or bottom bracket and head tubes. Head tubes are, I know there are no standards in the industry, but if there's one that's close, it would be the 4456 head tube for mountain bikes. So this has that, tapered, internally relieved, threaded for head tube badge. So if you want, you can take your head tube badge off, spray paint it. We offer different colored decals. All the frames come with a bead-blasted graphic. The Nitrous is progressive, longer, slacker, 66 head angle.
Trail bike.
I can't remember all the numbers, but
yeah.
So this would be I race it cross country with 650 gram tires. Go rocky with it, 750 gram tires, 800 gram tires. Very versatile. Because of the length, the ETT is pretty long, reach is good. And then of course with the head angle, you know, it really puts the front end out there. It's stable. About a year ago, I did increase the chainstay slightly and brought back the reach a little bit because I felt for a lot of us, a lot of customers that don't ride berm stuff a lot, there needed to be a bit more bite on the front tire. So that was really the big tweak. The longer, lower slacker revolution, it was fantastic. You know, the bikes today are handling better than ever. But that doesn't mean that the whole industry is going to stagnate now with just the numbers they had in, say, 2020. So you look at anybody's spec sheets from 2020, and I assure you by 2025, they will be different.
Yep.
And there we're not going to be a radical difference because we have reached the limit of length and slackness what almost everybody can ride, even the pros, right? I mean, come on, some of the pros are downsizing to get more bite on the front wheel, and well, they're pros.
Let's geek out about this for a second.
Okay.
And why, tell me what, like, some people are still like, I don't get this whole chainstay length and bite on the front wheel, and I need this 63-degree head angle thing, and then they're washing out the front tires. And so especially on a bike like this, an XC bike, trail bike, I'll let you describe what happens when you lengthen the chainstay and how that affects front balance.
Basically, you know, if your weight is in the same spot and you just move the tires just slightly rearward, now, you know, you think about how much your chest, your head weighs and all that. So it doesn't take much, right? And if you were to draw a triangle, let's say, you know, from your rib cage through the front axle towards the ground, and then rib cage, rear axle to the ground. So if you move the front back and the rear rearward, right, you end up with a lot more bite on the front wheel, which on a flatter turns, or also areas that don't have designed turns, then the turns can come at you in odd combos, and then also you might have two turns close together that have two different radiuses.
Yes.
So one, you go, wow, this is awesome, I'm going the right speed.
Yeah.
And the next one, you're blowing out the last 2 feet of the turn.
Yep.
So just fine tuning what we are now on, which is the new geometry.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I did here.
Great explanation. So that longer, the further back your wheel is, even if nothing else changed, the more weight's getting transferred to the front because your fulcrum is moving. And you shorten up the reach as well. For a bike like this, it's designed to carve and rail corners that aren't bermed. That makes a ton of sense. And I've actually got a lot of people out there saying, can we cool it with the long bikes? It's getting out of control and they're too slack and they're too long. That's where the Nitrous fits in.
Right.
Perfect.
Now, to some, you know, this head angle may be too slack, or they think it's too slack.
Right.
But the reality is that, you know, there is a learning curve to this whole thing, and the key to riding a slacker mountain bike, I think, is the lean.
Yes.
Even if there's no big berm or anything like that, if you just commit to angling the bike and not steering the bike.
Yes.
So I didn't, in my quest for more bite, I didn't chop the head tube angle, you know, radically. Which
Right.
I could have panicked and said, oh my gosh, you know, I want more bite. I'm going to take it back to, you know, 68, right? Knock 2 degrees out. And I'm like, no, because I still want that nice arc.
Yes, if you have modern riding technique, and we were already seeing it, Cannondale's race scalpel HT's a 65.5 degree head angle. That's so much slacker than the 69 degrees, it's 71s. People are still on. And so if you can't make a 66 degree work, I'd recommend taking a clinic, because the new way of riding unlocks the potential of these bikes. If you're still sitting on top and steering with the bars and trying to keep the bike vertical like an old beach cruiser, you're really missing out on the potential of that bike, especially if it has modern geometry. So thank you for keeping it this way. That's awesome.
I know that my riding at 60 years old can be unlocked if I just commit to a 4-hour day of clinicking. I think that's a great idea, actually, because all of us that have been riding for so many years have habits that they're not bad habits, they're just habits that were started when bicycles were completely different.
Yep. More than spending $1,000 on shaving half a pound off your bike or the latest Berd Spokes or whatever, those are all great things. The greatest thing you can do to improve your riding experience and enjoy the sport more is to take a clinic. I am the best money spent on mountain biking, and it's with you for the rest of your life, no matter which bike you transition to. So take a clinic. If you haven't, I don't care how good you are, all these pros still take clinics, so definitely take a clinic. David, this is the Scrub, brand new hardtail. This is the one that everyone's gonna flock to on this channel. I would argue that they should ride both. I wish they could, because half are gonna gravitate towards the nitrous and half are gonna gravitate toward the Scrub. Who's the Scrub made for?
Everybody. So they need one of each.
There you go.
Right? So seriously, they're very different bikes.
Yes.
And this was developed with a couple of guys half my age to make sure that we got what they wanted, and they live this lifestyle much more, well, if they get hurt, they're down only half the time.
Right.
There's so many bikes of this class on the market with short head tubes that by the time the rider stacks up the spacers under the stem to get comfortable for, you know, pumping the face of the jump and manualing, and then of course scrubbing over the, you know, the low 6-packs or whatever they do, because I really don't know.
No, you're saying it right.
They wanted a higher stack.
Killer.
So we did a high stack so that you didn't burn up your reach with spacers, because every spacer you add on a slack head angle bike, it eats up the reach like radically.
Yes.
So what you think you're buying is not necessarily what you're going to end up riding. Unobstructed seat tube.
Yep.
So a massive dropper post can be used. So we went with a straight seat tube, no threaded bosses.
Cool.
You know, obviously there's a triple mount underneath, and then a double here, massive dropper post compatibility, and then for the tall guys, of course, giving it some support. Put a gusset here too. This is a thicker wall. Well, the whole frame is thicker wall tubing than the nitrous.
Okay.
We wanted it stiffer to handle the hard impacts of berms, or, you know, coming up short 50-50, that sort of thing. Like the nitrous, it does have the 4456 head tube, easy to find headsets for. This is a 180 native brake mount, and we put the brake mount on top of the seat stay, unlike the nitrous, because there's a much better chance somebody might run a 200mm rotor on the back. So obviously stack away.
Cool. Beautiful. I love these gussets. They're one of the most tasteful gussets I've seen. You know, so many bikes have that big old tube coming up here, and it's boxed in. It looks like a Formula One race car roll cage. Love that they're all boxed in, and these welds look absolutely phenomenal. Here's the Scrub, and this is that cool T47 bottom bracket with the integrated ISCG tabs. So cleanly done, and check out this beautiful yoke and that super thin brace in there. So beautiful. These welds are top notch. Let's weigh this thing. Sorry to my UK friends for using pounds. 4.63, that's impressive, especially because he went with the heavier wall tubing and the bigger gussets to handle massive sends. Stuff way gnarlier than I'll ever ride. All right, let's throw the nitrous on there. This is impressive, very impressive. That's interesting when we're weighing mediums, cool. Oh my goodness, 4.17. That's lighter than the frame I designed. Look at that. Oh man, I just love T47. Love it so much. I'll bet this thing is an absolute joy to ride. So here's where my brain's going. Bike packing, check. Northern California trails here in the Bay Area. I've been enjoying these little bit less rowdy, overbuilt, crazy hardtails up here and reconnecting with the joy of a blue and a green and just having a blast on it. I think this will be such a blast on that. Okay, David, there's another bike here that has caught my eye. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. But I need it. Tell me about this. DeWolf.
All right, so the longest guy to ever work for Turner Bikes is named Greg Wolf. And he wanted a beach cruiser looking mountain bike made out of titanium. So Greg was such a big part of Turner Bikes and our customer service, and everybody that dealt with Greg loved him. And anyway, so we really wanted to make something special. Greg is special. Greg absolutely loves it. This is his personal bike. We've only built one so far, and we gave it to him at his birthday months ago. And the consensus was we should take it to the Sea Otter and show it off because it's so cool that other people might want one. So it's on display, and it's almost stopping traffic. People are walking by and their heads are turning, and just sitting here, it looks good.
It's got nitrous geometry.
It does. Same geometry, reach, stack. It does have more tire clearance in the back.
This thing has stole my heart at the show. There's some really boutique-y hand-built stuff that's been cool, but just look at this thing. This thing has stolen my heart. Imagine bike packing this or trail riding or riding down to the pub. It looks perfect. I love that fork. I'm so glad to hear this is going to actually make it into production. And there's so much right about this bike. Cable brakes, this rigid fork, the back swept bars. It just looks so comfortable. And knowing it has the same geo as the nitrous, that's super exciting to me. Look at this hardtail we found. We like hardtails that are under 6 pounds. That starts encroaching on light territory for trail bikes. This one's a little bit heavier at 6.4. Look at this beautiful hardtail.
This hardtail has 140 millimeters of rear travel.
Wait a minute.
Wildest hardtail there is.
We're allowed to feature cool full suspensions every now and then. It won't become full suspension party, don't worry. But Lane's bikes, this Digit Datum, it's too cool not to feature. It looks like this tiny little shock here. It comes all the way up to here where you have your air control and your compression damping. Where's rebound done?
It's on the inside of the compression damper. I used an Allen key in there.
Oh, cool.
3mm Allen key goes in there.
So if you can't tell, simplicity is the name of the game. Clean lines, less weight, less extra stuff. So you've got a pivot that's pivoting on the axle.
Yeah, so this axle can work in a race face crank, it can work in a 5-dev crank, Garber hook.
Any crank.
This spline is really pretty universally used.
Is this your spline?
No, this was the spline that was originally designed by Magic Motorcycle before they became the Cannondale, who started that DB30. This is really the spline.
But that comes with the frame.
This comes with the frame. This
okay,
is
cool.
A special one because it has a very, it's 30mm all across. It doesn't have a shrink down the middle.
Gotcha.
The reason is it goes both through the frame on the bracket.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also the link on the rear suspension.
Okay, so if it did step down, we wouldn't have the contact in there that we need to act as a suspension pivot as well.
Some of the pivots, some of the spindles that come with other shops, with other cranksets, do accommodate that.
Yeah.
Because I can't be sure.
I know. Yeah.
I supply one with it.
Oh, that's very cool.
With a 30mm system.
So that's your axle for the pivot as well.
Yeah.
Axle for the cranks, axle for the pivot. So we got two sets of bearings. One bearing's handling the crank duties, one's handling suspension duties. That's really cool.
And so if you wanted to not run a 30mm,
yes.
I have a shim that works on 24 for Shimano kind of cranks.
We got a lot of fans of that.
SRAM GXP would work.
Oh, interesting.
And then this one for 28.99mm.
That's such a great idea. You removed a pivot here, and you started as a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
How was that process? Would you do it again that way?
Yeah, it was the only way I could. Kickstarter allowed me to get going. It built the first 30 frames.
Well, I love championing the people who think outside the box and who start their own business and just make their dream a reality. Anyone can have a great idea and write it down on paper. It takes a true workhorse and a true champion to bring it to fruition and deal with all the scrutiny and the hatred and the love and the drama that you didn't know you were getting into when you started it. Congrats.
Thank you.
I'm here at Microshift and they've updated the Advent X derailleur. It's gotten 20 millimeters shorter on the cage here, and the pulley position has changed a little bit. You get a lot more tooth wrap on each of these pulleys now. And the idea is a little bit more strength, a little bit shifter crisping. It's not like this earth-shattering must-have, I gotta drop everything and get that right now. It's more an instance of incremental improvement and just perfecting what they've already got going on. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Advent X. I love the 11 to 48 range, and I love the price and the shifting quality. So good. I'm a big fan. I've got this on a lot of my bikes. Lately I've been going wireless because I review so many frames that the time involved of pulling cables off and putting a new cable on slows me down, so I've been going wireless. But on a couple of my personal bikes, I'm still running Advent X. Zero issues, thousands of miles. Really love this drivetrain for the budget, and a lot of people haven't tried it, and I highly recommend it. If you're building up a bike, probably the best way to save money on your build is to get an Advent X drivetrain, because the performance difference with that and a $700 drivetrain is very minimal. Then you can put that $700 into brakes or a fork or a nice dropper or something like that. So I love what they're doing. In a lot of cases, mountain biking is just getting ridiculously expensive. So many of these booths, it's just, here's a $900 part here, here's a $4,000 frame there. I haven't forgotten you guys because I'm one of you. I can't afford that stuff myself. I'm so grateful to see this new stuff from Advent X and that they just keep thinking about new ways to push it a little bit better and a little bit better. Some of my most requested bikes for review are the Giant Fathom, not here. It is the Commensal Meta, not here. It's the Canyon Stoic, not here. The Dartmoor, not here. Ragley's not here. I mean, I know not everybody can be here, but I just want you to know those are on my radar and I want to review them, but these companies don't have a great, strong presence here, and I don't have a way of interfacing with them to get to talk to them. We're here at the Ritchie booth spotting some killer hardtails. This is the Ultra. You guys saw this reviewed on my channel. Such a beautiful, lightweight Northern California hardtail. These things ride so good. Couple really cool Ultras. It's fun to see multiples in person. This is the brand new colorway of the Ultra. This will be available in the next month or so. So if you've been holding out for the latest Ultra color, check it out. Check out this Karakoram. Oh, love it. We're here with Cjell Money from Money Bikes. You got the new V3 here?
Yep.
Walk us through it.
This is the official release party at Sea Otter. We came, this is our booth. It's right by the recycling. So that's cool. But yeah, this is the V3. This one's a little special. It's running coaster only. So you can see here with cooling fins spaced out, special through axle little adapter, and then here we have our new chromoly torque arm. Sweet. So this one's got all the goodies. There's a 32 or 36 to 32 hole adapter, so we can run flows or whatever. This one's over forked like crazy. There's a 170 fork.
We're here at Surly, and you guys love the Karate Monkey. I know you do, as well as the Krampus. I'm gonna get one of these in for review. What do you want to see more, the Krampus or the Karate Monkey? Post up below. I've been wanting to review one of these, both of them, for quite some time, and I'm super excited to make that connection with Surly. We're gonna make it happen. We're here at Old Man Mountain Racks. They sent me in some racks to review. I haven't featured yet, they're coming. I'm waiting for the trails to dry out to go bike packing. But they're here at Sea Otter, and so I wanna show you not only what they've been doing for ages, but what's coming out. This rack is the Divide. It can be run front or rear. Here it's mounted on a fork. You have to run a different axle so that it can sit on these little 10 mil spacers in here, but that's part of the ordering experience, is you can talk to them and they can help you get the right axle for your bike. So it's a longer axle here through the fork, so that it's all supported right there on that same axle, and then it also supports to the fork leg here. The divide is meant for running panniers. It's a little bit wider frame here, so if you're going to run bags, you got more support there. If you're not into that and you're more into like a 3-pack or a more minimal design, this is the Elkhorn. This mounts the same exact way, but it's more like a Y shape, but you got a 3-pack here, so you could mount water bottles there, you could mount anything you can mount to a 3-pack, like my Ortlieb bags, you could click on there. This new basket has just been released like a week ago. I really like that. I would love to see more people using bikes for transportation than cars when it makes sense, but a lot of people don't have a good way to carry their groceries home or their bike parts or whatever, and a rack like this could totally do that. They're also working on this rad little pizza rack, light mount on the side. I kind of want to just go out for pizza just to strap it to my bike and have an experience now. I love that. Here's the product I'm the most excited about. It's their new Ponderosa pannier bag. This has some really cool features. These guys at Old Man Mountain Racks are like us. They ride trails that are not necessarily the smoothest or flattest trails. They ride single track trails geared up for bike packing, and that's what we like to do. Arizona Trail, Colorado Trail, rough, bumpy stuff where your stuff's just flopping all around. And rather than rely on like plastic clips or things that rattle or could break, they've got a really nice soft attachment system here. And I really like this. They've got a frame sheet in here that stiffens it up a little bit. And when you cinch down on these compression straps, because it has a frame sheet, it sucks the whole thing in, not just at the top where these straps are. So you can cinch it down, you can run it in roll top mode, or you could run these down to the side here for a super secure connection. I'm a huge fan of racks for mountain biking because you can still use your dropper, you can put a whole bunch of stuff out there, and your bike carries the weight extremely well. If you're interested in that sort of thing, check out Old Man Mountain Racks. They're meant to be used and ridden on rugged trails. They're full suspension compatible, they're hardtail compatible, and I'm super excited to test them out and take them in the backcountry on a bike packing trip. So you'll be seeing more of their stuff on the channel soon. So the Ponderosa rack and this Juniper top bag rack are not currently available, but they're in development, and that's why we come here to see what's coming in the next coming months. So I'd guess 2 or 3 months, June, July, we should be able to start seeing these drop. I'll see if I'm able to get some of those in for review as well, to take out and get dirty, and see if I can fit my drone in there and my camera gear and all my bike packing junk. Super excited to see somebody take rear racks seriously that are meant to be ridden the way we like to ride our bikes. I spotted a Firefly in the classified booth. I've never seen one of these in person. There's some beautiful stuff going on here. Love it. We're here at Norco. Props Norco for bringing their Torrent. This is the aluminum Torrent. Very cool. If you guys haven't already seen my first look and full in-depth review of the Torrent, I've got that over on YouTube. I reviewed the steel one, but this one's a little bit more affordable, a little bit lighter, probably a little bit different ride feel, but same geometry, same amazing capability on this wonderful hardcore hardtail. We're here at Gates Carbon Belt Drive, and they've got an exploded pinion on displays that I can show you how it works on the inside. Super interesting. So when you're pedaling, all of these gears are rotating. So this is interesting. As she shifts, all the gears are still moving, but it's choosing which one is engaging the drive. And you can dump all the gears without pedaling. You can pedal backwards. You can just... A lot of people hate the grip shift that haven't actually tried it. The grip shift makes so much sense because you don't have to row through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this has a 600% range, so you can go, your highest and lowest can still be greater than a 1x12 Eagle range. I've got some content coming up about this very soon. I've already filmed it, I just need to review it and release it. I think the pinion's wonderful in certain circumstances and less than wonderful in others, and I'll be talking about that. But I love seeing this on display and seeing how it works inside. It's been an awesome week at Sea Otter. It's been so fun meeting so many of you and showcasing these cool products. Thanks for watching, everybody, and nerding out on bikes with us here on Hardtail Party. As always, there's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.